What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today we're going to be making a final 2022 NBA mock draft, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, we all know the big question surrounding this year's upcoming draft. Who's going to go first between Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, and Chet Holmgren? And since the Orlando Magic get the #1 pick in this year's draft, they get first dibs out of those three players. And I think the Orlando Magic are going to go with Paolo Banchero. And this is a very hard choice because all three of those guys are very unique and they all have a different upside that they can reach. But I think Paolo Banchero, with the way that the Orlando Magic is set up, they have a lot of young pieces that can score the basketball, but I still think they're looking for that alpha when it comes to being the offensive guy, the guy that they can go to down the stretch in basketball games. And I think Paolo Banchero can come in and be that guy immediately. When we watched him in Duke, he literally showed a very versatile offensive game, and you gotta love his size, 6'9", 250, and he can score the ball from every area on the court. And he's a hybrid mix of an old school big with the new modern day big, so you gotta love Paolo Banchero's game, and I think he can help turn the Orlando Magic franchise around. So that's who I'm going with #1. And with the second pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder will be selecting Jabari Smith out of Auburn University. And I think this pick will make a lot of sense for OKC. And I think Jabari Smith's game translate well to their personnel and to their system. If we look at OKC, they already have two dominant ball handlers in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. So a guy that can play off the ball and knock down threes is something ideal for them. And they get that with Jabari Smith. And they also get a lot of size and length, and Jabari Smith is very unique when it comes to shooting the basketball because he's 7'10", he has such long arms, but he shoots the ball like he's 6'3". He has a flamethrower. He shot 42% from the three-point line in college, and the way he can shoot threes, we never really seen nothing like it from a guy his size, being able to run off pin downs and run off screens and catch and shoot the ball so quickly. And not only that, he will help the Oklahoma City Thunder on the defensive side of the ball as well. He's very versatile. He can protect the rim, and then he can also get out on the perimeter and move his feet. So I think this pick will make a lot of sense for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I hope you guys like my Adam Silver impression in that last pick. But moving on to the #3 pick in this upcoming draft, I think the Houston Rockets are going to go with none other than Chet Holmgren. And like I said, coming up with the top 3 order was such a tough thing. But the reason I have Chet at #3 is because when I look at the history of the NBA, taller, skinnier 7-footers like Chet Holmgren usually have their career hindered by injuries, and I think it would kind of be a gamble to put the shoulders of an NBA franchise on Chet Holmgren. But if he could have a healthy career, I think he has the potential to be really special. We look at his game and what we saw from him at Gonzaga. He's a 7-footer with a complete offensive game. He could shoot the 3 ball. He could get to the rim, put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. He could pull up for a jump shot. He had post game, and then also defensively, he was an elite shot blocker, and then he can also rebound. Playing at Gonzaga, he was second on their team in points, and then he was first in rebounds and blocks. And then when I look at him in the Houston Rockets system, I think he will help them out a lot offensively and defensively. He's going to be a stretch big that can help them stretch the floor for Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. He's going to be able to run the pick and roll with those guys, and then defensively, he's going to give them some much needed size in their front court with his rim protection. So I think this will be a great pick for the Houston Rockets, and that's how I got the top 3 looking. And when we look at the rest of this draft, it is really tough to do. Now with the #4 pick in this year's draft, I have the Sacramento Kings taking Jaden Ivey, and I think there's a high chance that they may trade him or trade away the draft pick. We look at the position that the Sacramento Kings are in right now. They're trying to get into win now mode. We saw them trade away a young point guard last season in Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis, and they already seem to have their backcourt with Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox. But we look at Jaden Ivey as a basketball player in college. He was nothing short of special, and he was so fun to watch, and he was known for his elite athleticism. He's very explosive off the dribble, and even when defenders knew his first quick step was coming, there was nothing to do to stop Jaden Ivey from getting past him. He has that type of athleticism, and what I like about his game is that he's very inconsistent control of it. He knows how to change pace. He knows what speed and what gear to use when he's in transition, when he's in the half court offense, when he's in pick and roll situations. So he's really good at changing pace, and he has some upside compared to guys like Donovan Mitchell and Dwayne Wade. So Jaden Ivey has the possibility to become a superstar in this league, and I think he's the right selection at number 4. Now, the 5th pick in this year's NBA draft will be going to my Detroit Pistons, and I have them selecting Keegan Murray out of Iowa, and I think this pick will make a lot of sense for the Detroit Pistons, especially if they end up trading away Jeremy Grant. And I just love the way Keegan Murray's offensive game will fit with the Detroit Pistons, especially alongside Cade Cunningham. Keegan Murray is a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands for a long periods of time to score. He's a 3-level scorer. He can score down in the post. He hits his mid-range shots. He hits the 3-ball. He's great at transition. And then what the Detroit Pistons will love most about him is his defensive versatility. He's 6'8", 225 pounds. He has a very long wingspan, and he can guard multiple positions on the defensive side of the ball. He can guard 1 through 4, and he can bang with some of the bigger bodies in the NBA. So I think he's going to make a lot of sense for the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Indiana Pacers will have the 6th pick in this year's draft, and I think they're going to go with Shaedon Sharpe. And I know Shaedon Sharpe is the biggest mystery of this year's draft, and if he can pan out to be what everybody think he will be, he could be a potential superstar in this league. And what I can tell you about Shaedon Sharpe, and what all of you guys already probably know about him, is that he's a freak athlete, and he took an unrecorded, this wasn't recorded by the NBA Combine, but it said that he has a 49-inch vertical, which is insanely high. That's higher than Michael Jordan's, who had a 48-inch vertical, and his athleticism is just off the charts. And then also watching his high school tape, he just had a natural knack for scoring the basketball. He was a smooth scorer, and he has a fadeaway where he gets a lot of elevation on it, on his pull-up jumper. He can shoot to the 3-ball. He can shoot the 3-ball, and he can get to the rim at will. And then also I'm thinking about pairing him with a guard like Tyrese Halliburton. And if Shaedon Sharpe, if he is as good as he's making his hype seem to be, this could be one of the best young backcourts in the league. So I think the Indiana Pacers, I think they take that gamble on Shaedon Sharpe. Now, the 7th pick in this year's NBA draft will be going to the Portland Trail Blazers, and they're also a team that's trying to get into win-now contention with Damian Lillard. So there's a possibility that they can end up trading their draft pick. But if they do select, and I'm assuming that they're going to bring back Jusuf Nurkic, I think they're going to look for a forward in this draft, and I think the guy that's going to be right for the Portland Trail Blazers is Tari Eason out of LSU, and I think he's going to help the Portland Trail Blazers in a lot of areas that they're lacking in, like on the defensive side of the ball. Tari Eason is a 6'8" forward with a 7'2" wingspan, and he was great in college on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to be able to guard 1 through 4, and he has a bigger NBA frame, so he's going to be able to bang with a lot of the bigger bodies in the NBA. And then offensively, he's going to be pretty solid. He has a great IQ. He's good at moving the basketball and moving without the basketball, and he finishes great at the rim. And the one thing that he can improve on offensively is, of course, self-shot creation, but I don't think that's going to be much of a factor with Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons. And then also three-point shooting. He can become a more three-point shooter, but other than that, I think he's going to help the Portland Trail Blazers with size in the front court, and then also giving them a more versatile defender that can guard multiple positions. So I think Tari Eason is the right pick for the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, the 8th pick in this year's draft will go to the New Orleans Pelicans. And when I look at the Pelicans, they're in one of the best positions you can be in as an NBA franchise. Having the young special group that they have, and they're about to add an 8th overall pick to it, is very special. When I look at this team, they're very stacked in the front court, and they could use some help in their back court. And I think they're going to look for a two-way combo guard. And I think Bennedict Mathurin is the right guy for the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think Bennedict Mathurin, I love his game. He was known in college for being an elite three-point shooter. He can hit every type of three-point shot, pulling up in transition, off the catch, running off a screen, off the dribble, step back. Bennedict Mathurin could do it all from the three-point line, and his game didn't stop there. He can run the pick and roll, get to the rim, set himself up and set up others, and then also he has the potential to be a lockdown defender in the NBA, and I think this is the right guy for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the San Antonio Spurs will be selecting with the 9th overall pick in this year's draft, and I think they're going to go with the big man Jalen Duren, and I think this pick will be perfect for the San Antonio Spurs. They will begin a 6'11", 250-pound force of nature, and Jalen Duren also has a 7'5" wingspan that allows him to cover a lot, can slam it over you, has soft hands around the rim, and then also he has the mid-range game. So he's a really old school throwback center, and he has a lot of raw potential and a lot of raw skill, and I think it can be honed really greatly with the great coach Greg Popovich. So I think Jalen Duren will be the number 9 pick in this year's draft. Now, the Washington Wizards will be selecting with the 10th overall pick in this year's draft, and I have them selecting Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin, and I think he's going to be a big help to the Washington Wizards. I think he's going to give them some much needed shot creation. Johnny Davis was a solid offensive player in college. He was a 3-level scorer, could score in the pick and roll, can score in ISO situations without the screen, and he also could take smaller guards down to the block, hit them with a post fade or drop step them and finish around the rim. Just a complete offensive player. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he was known in college for getting into players and really making them work to score the basketball. So I have the Washington Wizards selecting Johnny Davis, and that is how I think the top 10 is going to go in tomorrow's NBA draft. That's going to be it for this video. Like if you enjoyed, comment down below, let me know where I went wrong and what would you change, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.